I thought if we ever broke up, I would feel this tremendous sense of relief. I could go back to being myself. But something happened. I fell in love with you or something. And I stopped being a loner.
Dylan, I think that's wonderful.
I think it's terrible.
You can look the other way once, and it's no big deal. Except it makes it easier for you to compromise the next time. And pretty soon, that's all you're doing is compromising because that's how you think things are done.
It's the Al Travis Show. Folks should watch it on the YouTube as you're Senator Susan Kent, intently trying to catch that last guy as he's whispering. What is he saying? You hear that right? I mean, you hear it through the...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I was like, well, this is taking a deep turn.
It's on a rotation. Who knows when they show up? But yeah, I'm like, wow, she's going to think I put that on purpose. Okay.
I was going to say, it sure sounds like the way people talk about the single subject rule, but okay.
I appreciate you being on the program. I really, really do. And I'm sure we'll talk about this again. Real quick, just to wrap up on this single issue bill thing. It seems, well, the Attorney General and the governor said they think they're going to appeal this. I try to get in their shoes, and I don't know that I would ask them to do that. And here's the point. Right now you have a 1,400-page bill with a lot of stuff in it, and this one thing, the binary trigger thing, is out. You've got everything else. If you go up the chain, and let's say Susan Kent and Al Travis are correct, and they say, read the law, knuckleheads, this doesn't count at all. The whole thing's wiped out. All the stuff they did last year and everything that's in line would go away. I don't think they want that chaos. Is that a terrible... I'm not telling them how to do their job.
Yeah, I mean, and, it's always a question of how different courts rule, right? But like I said, there was a pretty clear and to many of us disappointing Supreme Court ruling within the past 12 years, because I was in office. I want to say it was around 15, 16. And it absolutely undermined the single subject rule in the Constitution. Yep. And so, I mean, I hear your point. You're not wrong. This is not a but.
I'm just saying, but if you were advising the Walz and the Attorney General Ellison, are you touching this with a 10-foot pole?
Yes, potentially. I mean, I would need a better law degree than the one I have from the University of Law and Order, but
it's a good show.
Yeah, it's great. It's the best show. But all of them, all of them. but I mean, I think there's a very sound legal precedent, and that's my point from the Supreme Court to push back on that, which I kind of wish they wouldn't in that sense. I mean, it's like, I don't think we need the Supreme Court doubling down on this bad ruling.
My entire law degree is that my kid has a law degree. So, I'm second generation almost.
Hey, I all three of my parents are lawyers. So
see, then you're in the club.
And none of them were practicing attorneys. Let's just be really clear in the traditional sense. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Very cool. Mm-hmm. All right. You want to talk Social Security, and not a lot of fun in my book, but I have huge, strong beliefs on it. So this could get interesting. I throw it out there. Your thoughts on Social Security?
Well, you and I've had some of this conversation, so I think I know what some of your thoughts are. But the problem is the traditional view that I think you would fully support of Social Security, which is where normal people, working people, pay into it throughout their entire working lives, and it's a deal we make so that income comes back to us after we retire, right?
Easy enough.
We can kind of agree that is the core premise of Social Security, and we're not going to have a big but fight about that, right?
Not so far. You're going to say something, though. You're going to tee me off. We're not going an hour not getting teed off. It's going to happen. Go ahead. I believe it's coming now. So
the problem is, and these are things that I've talked about off and on over the past few years, that I believe, and a lot of Democrats believe, that really what the Republican Party is trying to do is structure things in our government to support big corporate interests and big, wealthy, super wealthy people, right? And it is not a secret that forever the Republican Party has been trying to privatize Social Security. And I remember back in 2005, George W. Bush said it out loud, and he talked about personal retirement accounts. And, they always say, okay, we're not going to do anything to older people, but for younger people, we're going to do this, which is just a way of phasing in privatized Social Security so that all this money and all this investment is suddenly going through the big finance companies and they get the commissions and the fees and the revenue off of it, as opposed to the system we have right now, which makes all that money just stay in the system for the people who are going to receive it. And when that happened in 2005, there was a big blowback and everybody had to walk back. But Scott Bessent, who is the Secretary of Treasury now, recently said, and it's on video, that within the big billionaires bill, there are new quote unquote Trump accounts. And he described them, quote, as a backdoor for privatizing Social Security, unquote. He said that out loud. And these are tax deferred investment accounts. But this is the thing. This is the game. This is what they've been playing with. And it's worth pointing out that our Treasury Secretary is a former hedge fund manager, and he himself has a net worth between $600 million to $1.38 billion. And so we've seen what's happening with Medicaid, as warned, and now the CBO has said they're doing it. It's going to affect Medicare, and now they're going to come after Social Security. So everybody needs to be paying attention.
Come after Social Security. It's such an attack thing. Let's start with Social Security.
He said
let's
it.
start.
No,
I'm saying I did not argue anything you said.
Yeah.
I'm going back to when we started Social Security. First off, the government had no right to do it. My opinion. The government doesn't come in and say, Al, we've been doing this for so long. We get old people. They're not ready for retirement. They want to retire. We think we got a plan. We're going to take, 7% for you, 7% for your employer. We're going to put it over here, a forced savings account from my U.S. government. I don't see that in the Constitution. Back to, I don't think they should have ever been allowed to do this, but they did. I wasn't here.
Yeah.
And we're not arguing, right? I mean, this is a stretch for a government to say you're going to be forced to retire, save.
And now people like you and me on the brink of retirement age have lived under that commitment our entire lives. Yes.
Absolutely. 14 and a half was my first check to the government. Been doing it ever since. And now as I'm coming out to get mine, right, my wife and I are deciding when we're retiring, what are we going to do with the Social Security check, you see how paltry this number is. So you start looking into it. Wait a minute, what happened? Well, the government doesn't guarantee you 8% or 4% or whatever the market did that year. That's not what you're getting from the government. I'm not saying it's wrong, but the government doesn't put it in the market and we get market out, right? It's not happening. So they guarantee stuff, but as long as there's money there. This was Al being forced to make a savings account that Al now helps support because at one time, us baby boomers, we outnumbered the world. This money was stacked in there. You know what? We should be able to give this to this person because they're disabled. This person, we start opening up the checkbook because it now became an entitlement program for folks. In the United States, you can go through your entire life on the dole and retire with Social Security when you're 62. You may never even kicked in a dime. That isn't the retirement savings account that we were promised. If it were, they'd say, Al, we took track of all the money you put in for this long, 2% interest. This is the money you get out. But they don't because there isn't that much money there. This has now become nothing but an entitlement program to the point they want to mean test it because you talk about the guy with $6 billion, there were $6 billion. Why should he get Social Security? Because he paid in as a forced return. It's his money.
So
now we're a button.
You're going away from the point.
No, the privatizing I'm for.
No, you were for privatizing.
And here's why. I think you can do it.
But here's my point.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump said, we're not going to touch Medicare. They're touching Medicare. He said, we're not going to touch Social Security. His people are describing how they're going to privatize Social Security.
But
my point is, people are being told one thing and they're believing it. And the Trump administration and the Republican Party
like they were in the 30s when they started this program. Here's the point: if you're going to do this, you're going to say, "Al,
I brought this up."
And I'm saying I'm for the privatization. I don't want it all. I believe if you're a young Al and you're getting into this at 14 and a half, you're going to start putting in this thing. You will not get the returns from the federal government. I only have proof because of my 60 years of doing this that you would get if you were going to do Social Security, but I picked the privatized version. I wanted the S&P 500, let it roll. 60 years from now, you're going to have 10 times the money that Al's getting because the market does better than the government's guarantees. So when I'm in here, You want to privatize it? If you want to go private, you can. You want to stay in the government, you can. I'm for it. What we got to get rid of is people who didn't pay in that are pulling out. That's who's got to go.
The people who are pulling out that didn't pay in are people who are not able to earn because they have legitimate disabilities. And so that's a different conversation. That's not why we're running out of money.
Let me throw a personal one out here. My mother won't be happy. My mother worked a total of about 2 years in her life. She got married at 16.
I'm going to say, as the mother of Al Travis, she worked more than 2 years.
Oh, I'm not saying. Okay,
So,
but my point being
that's
is
where the spousal benefit works in.
but the spouse benefit. So my dad, and this is not ripping my mother. She was a housewife her entire life. And that was back in her day, the thing they did. I'm not ripping her.
And some people still do.
And again, but you're saying she didn't put anything in. My dad did, and he got his. But when they retired, she got one, not as big as dad's. And then when dad passed, she got dad's.
Yes.
She will be getting out of this system, 100% more than she ever put in. And good for her. She needs it. But my point is, we should have an entitlement program that covers those humans. But don't say, Al, we're taxing your money. And then, oh, by the way, we force the savings. You pay taxes all this point. Now we're going to tax you coming back out. This system has been bastardized. It is nothing close to what we were promised.
We could, in a heartbeat, fix the math on it. If I forget the numbers off the top of my head, I had this written down recently, but it's somewhere like $140,000, $50,000 salary. Up to $140,000, $50,000, you pay a percentage, the percentage that I pay, you pay,
Yes,
up to that.
a 7 and 7 or
that,
something. Yeah.
At that point, it caps, right? So anybody who's making $200,000, $400,000, $5 million a year, they pay the exact same amount of money as a police officer or a teacher or a nurse, right? So if we would raise that cap on those people so that they were paying a greater percentage.
See, now we're agreeing.
We could fix it. So we could fix
now we're agreeing because now on the other side, that guy gets his money back. Then you force that in. He's $6 billion. Pay your 7. It goes in. He gets his money back. Why not? It's an investment. It's my savings. It's my you force savings.
I'm talking about within the program
means
that we have
testing
right now.
Yeah.
With the
if we tax somebody else and screw them either harder, then it would be good.
You think it's okay that somebody who's making $50,000 a year is paying the same percentage as somebody who's making $150,000 a year, but the person paying $150,000 a year in terms of total dollars,
gross in. Yep.
They get to pay less than they get to pay the same amount as somebody who makes $400,000 a year. That's not
because of the system you set up. Yes, if it was a forced retirement, put in up 7% and then you got 7 coming back, that'd be fine. But you're saying you mean tested on the other side, so it's not fair. He's not paying too much to not get back. It's a tax.
The bottom line is we can have conversations about privatization, except that the Republican Party keeps lying about it. They keep saying they don't want to change it. They don't want to mess with it. And yet now the Secretary of Treasury
But messing with it is giving you the option to go private. I'd go private in a heartbeat. Well, too late now for me, but I would tell my kids to go private in a minute.
But then what happens when it goes bust because you made bad decisions and you don't have any money in your retirement years?
Yes, if the stock market went to heck and the S&P went to 0 and I lost all my money, the biggest thing we'd have is who could sell apples on the corner. This hasn't happened since the Great Depression in 1929 when they started the forced savings account. That's not going to happen. Will I have up years and down years? You bet. But the federal government makes sure I have down years. The amount of money I'm going to back in Social Security is ridiculous for what I put in.
You're okay with the Republicans lying to their voters that they're going to protect Social Security.
I love your side when you guys have done the same thing throughout this whole thing. This started out as a retirement account. Your team decided it became a what do you call it? A giveaway to folks who didn't put in. Yes, it was a savings account for Al, which now becomes an entitlement to others.
I hope you have some older women who are listening to this show and are saying that they don't deserve Social Security because they didn't work.
Then it's an entitlement. What you also didn't say, as Al said, that if there is a program we need to do to help widowed women, I'm all for it. But it isn't Social Security because Social Security was a forced retirement savings account of Al's money.
A couple makes this deal. I'm going to work. Honey, you stay home, raise the kids, take care of the house, make sure I have.
Then they would split their Social Security. I agree.
And then he bailed on her at the age of 60 for some little trophy wife, and she's out of luck. because she did everything she was
I think we
supposed
have
to do.
courts for divorces and the rest, and he would half of his retirement and the rest. It's the same as any other
You
negotiation.
live in such a little utopia fantasy world. Good luck with that.
That I should got what I was promised. This is your retirement account, your money. We're going to put it over here. I'm so crazy that I thought that we got to go to break. I'm going to be such a short
take
break.
Care of women.
Oh wow! Back after this.
Step into a world where magic and merriment come alive. Discover fantastical creatures, behold thrilling jousts, and meet your favorite characters of old. From rib-tickling gestures to spellbinding performances, the adventure never ends. Make memories that will last through the ages at the most magical village on earth, the Minnesota Renaissance Festival. Plan your visit today at renaissancefest.com. Huzzah!
Think about it. Now that school's out for the summer, how are Minnesota students doing? Not very well. Minnesota ACT scores fell again last year and are the lowest they've been in 10 years. In fact, fewer than half of Minnesota students can either read or do math at grade level. Think about it. We used to brag about our schools. Now we're losing to states like Mississippi. Visit AmericanExperiment.org for more information. Think About It is brought to you by Center of the American Experiment, Minnesota's think tank.
Easily offended? The Al Travis Show is not for you. The Al Travis Show. All sides are welcome.
And I'm going to give her the last 2 minutes, but because she's all sneaky about making old ladies mad at me. My point being is that if my mom and dad decide she's not going to work, she stays home. If it went my way, he would be getting much larger checks because it was his forced retirement. There's a thing, Dave Ramsey, I'll get the numbers wrong. If you put like $500 aside from the time you're 18 to 23, and then put no more in the market, you have a couple $1 million at the end. It's some automatic millionaire thing. You look at the amount of money you and your husband have put in your Social Security for 45, 50 years, you're not getting it back. So my dad would have had a larger Social Security check. That when he passed, Mom gets it all, not half of the other remaining. They were a partnership. I think she'd been much better off with my system, not Al hates old ladies. That was sneaky, Kent. That was really sneaky.
You said it. I love how you're letting me have time to talk while you
And then
talk.
I did give up. 2 minutes ago. I'm throwing commercials out. You're in. Last two.
The point is, as I started with, the Trump administration, in complete partnership with the Republican Party and our Congress and Senate, are trying desperately to hand over all the gimmies to the big corporations who are going to make money off functions of government because they think they should be privatized, so they should make the money off of it. And all of this comes at the expense of working Americans, and it's all being done dishonestly. And the way this is working is that they're just going in and breaking these systems. Because, what you outlined, sure, there's an idea in there to reinvent these programs in different ways and restructure them to make them fair. That's fine, but that's not what they're doing. And the most recent example of this is tariffs, and a particular tariff, 200% on pharmaceuticals. And there was an interview with one of these administration people about this, and they were pressed on the question, what 200%, what is this going to do to the price of pharmaceuticals? It's going to incentivize local production, domestic production of pharmaceuticals. Fine, that's great in theory, but until those get up and running, because guess what, that's not going to happen by next Tuesday. What are you going to do to people who need these drugs, who are now looking at price increases because of a 200%? Well, it's going to incentivize production. That's the only answer they have. They have zero plan to take care of the people who are relying on Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, low price pharmaceuticals. Thank you, Joe Biden, for that. So everybody just needs to pay attention and not listen to the talking points.
All of that she just said in 2 minutes, and she ended the last segment with, and Al hates old women. That was eloquent. That was well said. And then instead, you're poking the bear. Got to go. We're out of time. Senator Susan Kent, love having her on the program.